The Falasha's struggle to escape from Ethiopia to Israel has been a long one.
We figure out around 5,000 people died in this operation.
Though the jubilation that greeted the first news of the exodus has evaporated. There are now demonstrations by Ethiopian Jews claiming that they're being discriminated against. Then there's the question of whether they'll ever really be accepted as Jews. Some Israeli rabbis have demanded that they undergo conversion. Many simply don't know what the Holocaust was. Like so much of their experience here, discovery has been a shock. What we found was evidence of what the Israelis now call their Ethiopian problem.
Their tradition in the village, the Sabbath came, the place was closed down. They were closed. So you didn't have to worry about how you kept the Sabbath. They come here, it's open, people are driving cars, things are happening.
The things any of us take for granted, like gas and electricity, are greeted time and again, like miracles from heaven. So can a people like this ever be integrated into such a Western society?
So we have many cases, for instance, where people prefer to work in a factory where they are giving, let's say, 2 chickens at the end of the week instead of money.
Are we making a mistake? Will we be in trouble with these people? Can we get them to be a part of this society as we would like them to be?
For now, we're all Jews, and that's enough. That's all that's necessary to start with.
The Israeli decision to keep the rescue operation secret is understandable. It couldn't have happened without the cooperation of at least 2 governments who would have been deeply embarrassed to be seen to be dealing with Israel, and the speculation that an extraordinary deal was done to make it possible. The Falasha communities lived in the mountainous area around Gondar, close to the border with Sudan. The easiest means of escape was across the border to Kassala. It's believed that most were airlifted from there over Egypt and on to Israel. The speculation is that Sudan, which is officially anti-Israeli, was given substantial cash sums to allow that to happen, and that the Ethiopian government, no friend of Israel either, may have been bought off with arms sales. But it does suggest a surprising degree of Arab-Israeli cooperation.
I think this operation could not have taken place if there hadn't been some kind of humanitarian feeling amongst the Arabs themselves, Arab states, who allowed the planes to overfly properly, who allowed the whole operation to take place. I think it's a credit also to some of the Arabs as well as some of the Israelis.
The Falasha's struggle to escape from Ethiopia to Israel has been a long one. Although they've maintained their Jewish identity unchanged for centuries, they've been completely isolated. It's only in the last decade that they've been officially recognized as Jews by Israel, and the Ethiopian government has blocked their attempts to emigrate since then. But the Ethiopian famine gave them an opportunity. Huge numbers of famine refugees have been crossing to Sudan, and the Falashas joined them. Sympathy for their suffering put pressure on the Israeli government to take them in.
They were living now in a state which was totally opposed to religion, and living in a Marxist state, added to their previous problems of wanting to get to Israel. Remember, to them, the idea of, they only heard about Israel so after the Israeli state was established. They are being Jews. They even at one time thought they were the only Jews in the world left. They were amazed to discover that there were actually Jews outside Ethiopia. So when they heard the state of Israel had been established, of course, the first thing they wanted to do is to get to Israel.
For some of the Ethiopian Jews who've reached Israel, their rescue has come only just in time. Their poor physical shape the result not only of famine in Ethiopia, but also of their long and difficult journey out of the country, which is why the Israelis are privately so concerned about the airlift's future. One of the people who masterminded the whole operation, Mr. Haim Aharon of the Jewish Agency Organization, is in London at the moment. He says he's praying for it to continue. Mind you, he adds, once the Ethiopians reach Israel, there can be other problems.
What's the use of money? What money is for? So we have many cases, for instance, where people prefer to work in a factory where they are giving, let's say, 2 chickens at the end of the week instead of money, because they cannot appreciate the value of money, and they appreciate very well what 2 chickens mean.
For the new arrivals, many of them already learning new skills, such a sudden change can be a difficult and unnerving experience. What, for example, is a plastic bag? even in their new homeland, the Ethiopian Jews are already showing how determined they are not to lose their unique identity completely.
Despite the fears that Operation Moses would be stopped by all the publicity, it's still continuing. Here at a reception centre just outside Jerusalem, more than 50 families have arrived in the past 48 hours. Behind them, on the border between Ethiopia and Sudan, thousands more wait, apparently, for a flight out. The Israeli government is confident they can all be rescued. For the new arrivals, there's what one doctor has called a journey through 1,000 years of change, an instant leap into the 20th century. For a people who've simply never seen wash basins, toilets, even beds with sheets and pillows. The things any of us take for granted, like gas and electricity, are greeted time and again, like miracles from heaven. So can a people like this ever be integrated into such a Western society?
We can't speak their language and they can't speak ours, but they obviously feel that we're the people that they want to be part of and that they are part of. And there just seems to be some sort of emotional bond there. It's very difficult to pinpoint, but it's definitely there.
For now, we're all Jews, and that's enough. That's all that's necessary to start with.
These refugees start as well with the kind of aid programme that would be unthinkable in Africa. The Israeli government says it will spend $25,000 on every man, woman and child coming in. And at hand is one of the best health services in the world. Here on Lake Ethiopia, there will be recovery from the diseases the Israelis have diagnosed: malaria, typhoid, TB and malnutrition.
On one side, most of them are really ill, in addition to the slight malnutrition they have been arriving in. But they can be healed very quickly with the help of antibiotics, and the situation can be under control without any further problems.
What these people will not have is immunity from the problems affecting Israel at large. Already the leaders of some Israeli communities have attacked Operation Moses, saying there won't be enough jobs, enough housing to go round, and that the money being spent is needed elsewhere. In a society that has already been arguing amongst itself how and why news of the operation leaked out, that's a signal of the problems ahead. David Smith, News at 10, Israel. The Ethiopians are still coming in urgent need of treatment. The hospital unit reserved for them has a number of new arrivals. Doctors continue to report malnutrition, tuberculosis, and the after effects of severe dehydration. Every hospital case is an indication of the heavy toll this exodus has taken of the Falasha population. And it's only now, with substantial numbers here, that the extent of the losses they've suffered along the way is becoming clear.
Everyone here, he lost one of his family there. Every person you can ask. There is no one, he didn't lose one family from on the way. We figured out around 5,000 people died in this operation.
And what have they died of? Starvation, disease?
From starvation and disease, yeah. Most of them.
Do you think it was worth it?
Well, we don't have a choice. We don't have a choice, so it's worst or not. But I believed we want to be here. This is our place. We don't have any choice to be in Ethiopia, to continue to be Jew.
This week, Israeli Prime Minister Shimon has been visiting Falasha communities. He said in the past that his government will not rest until everybody still alive is brought out safely. Already, though, the jubilation that greeted the first news of the exodus has evaporated. There are now demonstrations by Ethiopian Jews claiming that they're being discriminated against. And there are those who complain about the way the exodus has been handled. Above all, about the high price their people have paid. David Smith, News at 10, Jerusalem. This past week, the Ethiopian Jews now in Israel have been attending memorial services for those who died in the Holocaust. Many simply don't know what the Holocaust was. Like so much of their experience here, discovery has been a shock. It's what the psychologists call coming to terms with reality. It's a reality that bears little resemblance to the dream they had of this, their promised land.
Some people are suffering terribly.
Dream is that
not because of anything that someone's doing to them, because of the normal process of trying to learn a very difficult language, the normal process of trying to go shopping with money that you never use, because in your village you traded everything, the normal of even trying to, let's say, keep up with with our traditions. Their tradition in the village, the Sabbath came, the place was closed down. They were closed. So you didn't have to worry about how you kept the Sabbath. They come here, it's open, people are driving cars, things are happening. It's very shocking. So it's a very traumatic experience.
Avram Marsha is a peasant farmer from Gondar province in western Ethiopia. 4 months ago, he and his wife Tavian arrived in Jerusalem at the height of the secret airlift. Back in January, we spent their first few hours in Israel with them as they settled into their new home at an absorption centre just outside Jerusalem. Everything at this stage was indeed a shock. It was the first time, for example, they'd seen a gas stove.
Israel.
4 months on, we spent a day this week with the Marsha family. What we found was evidence of what the Israelis now call their Ethiopian problem. It's the problem of a community ill-equipped to handle life here, and totally dependent on others for their survival. Life for the Marsha family has assumed a routine. They live in a 3-bedroom prefab surrounded by about 60 other Ethiopian families. For their 4 children, there's intensive schooling, 8 hours a day, 6 days a week. And the children have been deliberately placed in schools along with Israelis. That means integration for them at the earliest possible stage. And teachers see few problems for the baby of the family, 3-year-old Menachem. For his parents, though, it's a very different story. They attend school every day as well. The task at hand, to learn Hebrew. 4 months on, neither has the confidence or the ability to speak anything more than a few words. Already their teachers fear it's a losing battle. Like so many Ethiopians here, the language problem affects every moment of their day. The Marshas no longer go anywhere outside the absorption centre alone. For once in their lives, there's no shortage of money. The government gives them an allowance of about £40 a week. But it is a social worker who has to organise their shopping. And as with so many Ethiopian families, it is the younger generation, in their case their oldest son, who ends up taking the responsibility that's always been theirs.
I am happy to be here. I wanted to come here. But I do feel lost. I can only speak to my own people. I cannot speak to others. That is difficult. But I want to say I am happy here.
In Ethiopia, I was a farmer. I had my fields. I don't think I will have a job here. That makes me sad. But here we will live. In Ethiopia, we were dying. So I am happy to be in Jerusalem.
The Israelis always knew that integration would take a generation or more. There is, though, a growing realization today that these people are being alienated by the very system set up to integrate them.
If you ask Ethiopians what is it that they want to be, yeah? So the immediate answer is we want to be like everybody else in this country. We want to be we're Israelis, we want to be Israelis like everyone else. Now, if you prolong the period of time in which persons are in absorption centers, by prolonging I mean for a period of 9 months, a year, and in many cases it has been 2 years and longer that people are sitting in absorption centers, then they cannot be like all Israelis. All they do is become increasingly frustrated. The conflicts, either the overt or the covert conflicts between people and families and between the absorption personnel become magnified. And you get strikes, and you get shouting, and you get depression, and you get oppression, you get a whole range of things that really don't belong.
The absorption process has also had a dire effect on family life. There have been few marriages since the Ethiopians arrived, and social workers report a notable reluctance on the part of young couples to wed. Firstly, because many families have broken up since the exodus began, and also because of fears about their long-term prospects. The Israelis had always believed that the Ethiopians would naturally find work. A few have, but in almost every case it's doing menial, unskilled jobs. And at a time of economic crisis, the chances of full employment are slim indeed. Then there's the question of whether they'll ever really be accepted as Jews. Some Israeli rabbis have demanded that they undergo conversion. The traditions they followed back in Ethiopia are questioned. For people who suffered so much to get here, having their religious credentials doubted now is a humiliation. The result is a community in crisis, a crisis that everyone knew was coming, but which no one can solve in the short term. The Israeli authorities believe that the solution lies primarily with the Ethiopians themselves. For their part, the Ethiopians feel it's the responsibility of the government, and the government alone, to not just absorb them, but to integrate them fully into Israeli society, and not leave them on the outside looking in.
If they give us the right education, if they support us to be, all of us will have a house, will have a job, will have everything, I think it's going to be okay. But if they don't do something right now, it will be a big problem.
Are we making a mistake? Will we be in trouble with these people? Can we get them to be a part of this society as we would like them to be? I've thought of it often. I believe the answer is that I will not be sorry, but I cannot answer that 100%. But I believe we will not be sorry.